Hi, this is Mrs. Basin, and in this screencast we're going to look at using sig figs in calculations. So the first thing, and the thing that we'll do the most in here, is multiplication or division. So this is the rule we will use the most. When you are multiplying or dividing, using sig figs always answers the question of what do I round to. So when you end up with a number on your calculator after you've multiplied a whole bunch of stuff, you always ask, what do I round to? How many decimal places do I leave? Using sig figs answers that question. So if you're multiplying or dividing, you're going to round the sig figs in your answer to that in the measurement with the smallest number of sig figs. So basically you're rounding to the smallest number of sig figs. So if we look at our example problems here, that first one, we have 6.0 times 8.01 times 54 times 4.8631. Okay, so if we look at that, our answer on our calculator is 12620.91164. Okay, and I'm going to leave the others out there because they won't fit. So if I go back to my numbers that I multiplied and look at the number of sig figs, this first number has 2 sig figs. This one has 3, this one has 2, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to round my answer to the lowest number of sig figs. And the reason we do that is because our final answer can't be more precise than our least precise measurement. So if, again, this sig fig stuff is communicating what the particular measurement was taken with. So this one had something that was measured to the tenths place, or the tenths place was estimated. This one has a much more precise piece of equipment. But our answer cannot be more precise than our least precise piece of equipment. So that's why we would have to round this to 2 sig figs. So this would become 1,300 because I have to round it at this place, again rounding up because this number is greater than 5. For my next one, this first one has 3 sig figs, and 4 sig figs. So when I multiply that out, 2.35 times 32.15, I get 409.49455. Because my least precise measurement had 3 sig figs, my answer has to be rounded to 3 sig figs. So I'm going to round this to 409, and that would be my answer that I reported. Okay, and here's 2 more examples. So here, the first example here, I have 4.56 times 1.4. This is my answer on my calculator. This number had 3 sig figs. This one had 2. So my answer has to be rounded to 2 sig figs. So at this one, I'm rounding at this place right here. The number after is greater than 5, so I'm rounding up. So that becomes 6.4. On a division problem, the same deal. My top number here has 4 sig figs. The one on the bottom has 3. This is my result on my calculator, so I have to round it to 3 sig figs. So I could put it in scientific notation like they did here, or I could also report it as 0.00279. Okay, so you don't have to put things in a scientific notation unless the problem specifically tells you to. Okay, my other type of calculation I might have is addition or subtraction. So when you have addition or subtraction problem, these are a little bit different. What you do with these is you round to the lowest number of decimal places. So in our first example here, I've got 2.0 plus 46 plus 3.05. So my lowest number of decimal places is no decimal places. This number here has 1. This one doesn't have any decimal places. This one has 2. So when I do this, I get 51.05. But I need to round it so that it doesn't have any decimal places. So that comes out to 51 grams. Okay, let's look at our next one. This one has 3 decimal places. This one has 3. This one only has 1. So when I add those together, I get 53.925. So I have to round it to 1 decimal place. So I round it to 53.9 meters. And again, you only round to decimal places when you're adding or subtracting. Most of the time in chemistry, we will be using multiplication division, so we'll be using the previous rule. But if you are adding or subtracting, this is the rule that you follow. Again, here's 2 more examples. So this first one, 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 3 decimal places, so we round it to 1. Our next one, 4 decimal places and 1 decimal place. For subtraction problem this time, you're rounding it to the lowest number of decimal places, which would also be 1 decimal place.